Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, November 11th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to make good decisions as a trader, then this will be a video for you. Real quick before I get started, I do want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering on Thursday. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and you want to learn more about charts and how they can be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, then there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click on. So keep that in the back of your mind. And if you're liking what you see, then definitely get signed up for the free class. First one here, ticker symbol RIVN, Rivian, big IPO today. A lot of people talking about it. And a quick note here, what we're looking at here is the 15-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 15 minutes. And I'm doing that just because it was an IPO, so there's not a whole lot of data to look at. And then also the market is still open for a little while, so that candle there will still be moving throughout the course of the video here. But I like to do that just because sometimes it can allow us to catch some very entertaining action live as it's playing out. But for now, the main overarching levels have been defined. And I suppose if you're watching this and these levels have all of a sudden been violated, well, that would tell you that some sort of crazy move has happened from the time of the recording to the actual closing of the market. So the first level here that stands out and that a lot of people will be watching, and nothing fancy behind this at all, but right down there at $95.50. That is very clearly now a main level of support. You can see not once, but twice actually got a nice little double bottom bounce from that area. So there's going to be all sorts of people watching that area. And again, rightfully so. That's a very plausible, that's a very logical area to watch. And when lots of people are watching the same levels, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can definitely produce some very dynamic movements. So that's certainly going to be an area that a lot of people will be watching about from an area of support. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, the main level here that stands out moving forward, going to be right up here at the 105.50 mark. So yeah, it makes it interesting. 95.50 being the key level of support, 105.50 being that key level of resistance. Now, if the price can work its way back up to that area and potentially get a break up through it, again, no such thing as a guarantee, but does it seem valid and logical that the price could, at minimum, at least make a move up to that area right there at the 111 mark? Yeah, I think that's a very realistic possibility. Again, not a guarantee, but is it, plausible to think that way? Absolutely. But point here being, a lot of people, I'm sure, are going to continue to be talking about this one. So keep an eye on these technical levels here headed into Thursday. Now, as a quick clarification point, moving forward, the rest of the charts will be now on the 30-minute time frame, meaning instead of each one of these representing 15 minutes, which we just had, each one of these now represents 30 minutes worth of time. So with that being said, AMC sitting at a very, very important level, and this will mean a little bit more to those that watched the past videos, but talked about specifically this pink line down here, which on my chart represents that 200 period moving average. Very well known, very famous level in the world of charts. And to give credit where credit's due, so far so good. The price, each time it's gotten down around that area, has held strong. So that's certainly going to be a very important attribute moving forward. So that's really kind of the big question, at least in my mind, is this level going to continue to hold? Who knows? Is this some sort of double bottom that's formed? Bottom one, bottom two. Again, that's a very valid question to ask moving forward. But from an overarching standpoint, very clearly that level there is going to be an important level. And, $38 is what I would kind of use as the official point that it's been broken, because supports, resistances are not exact specific levels down to a penny. But I mean, if the price does break down below 38, then at that point, that would have suggested that the price has moved, quite a bit of ways down through that pink line there. So 38 going to be more so that confirmation point that the 200 period moving average has been broken. In the event that level is broken, then the next key level of support you'd want to watch very clearly would be down there right around the $37 mark. So that'll be the main level of support. As far as areas of resistance, I'm actually just going to get rid of that line there. It served its purpose for now, because in my opinion, the main level of resistance that'll first need to be cleared before any other levels of resistance are talked about is that purple line right there, the 50 period moving average, currently valid at, we'll call it $41.20. So overall, not a great day, but we'll see how things play out over the next couple of days. Next one, PLTR did this analysis yesterday and talked about how, maybe, just maybe, this was some sort of bottom that was forming, but that was very quickly wiped away with the gap down today. So I guess on the bright side, at least it didn't, break upwards and then go, crash to the downside. It just flat out gapped down and said, nope, this is not the bottom. And then you can see after the gap down, it just continued to head down further the rest of the day. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines as they serve their purpose for now. And a couple of new levels to watch moving forward. From a support standpoint, nothing fancy, nothing complicated here at all. Literally just a question of, okay, where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that bleeding finally stopped right down there at 22.14. So that'll, that's going to be, that near-term level of support. And if the price goes down there and can't quite hold above there, as you're seeing here, it has been a long, long time since the price has been down around this area. But if that initial area of support can't quite hold, then the next key level would be right down there around 2165. Now let's zoom back in and talk about levels of resistance. So if there is any sort of attempted bounce in the upwards direction, key level initially, in my mind, you're going to be right up there around $23.10. And then you also have to, continue to watch that purple line there, 50-period moving average. Again, I realize that seems like it's irrelevant right now, but hence its name, a moving average. That line will move further and further downwards and get more and more relevant as time goes by. But overall, yeah, the bears are definitely, picking up momentum after today, but we'll see if the bulls can at least try to get some sideways movement on Thursday. Next one here, SOS, and overall still an interesting chart. Not as interesting as it was because the price did, pull back here, but it's not like it crashed or anything like that. But, big gap down, obviously. But what makes this interesting is after the gap down, that was pretty much all it went. Now, sure, it did drop down a little bit right there. But after that, a very impressive bounce. Again, yeah, the bounce is pulled back, but it's not like it's crashed. So in my mind, it's still a very valid question and very worthy to at least keep an eye on in terms of, okay, maybe this thing is still getting ready to try to turn back around and maybe just maybe come up there and close that gap up around the $2 mark. Still a lot of work that needs to be done for that. But my point here is it's not like, and this will mean a little bit more to those that have traded for a while, but I'm sure some of you you've seen stocks gap down, and then after the gap down, the price just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds the rest of the day. That wasn't the case here. The price actually did work its way upwards here a little bit. Does that guarantee that this is the bottom? Absolutely. No such thing as a guarantee. Is it plausible to think that way? Yeah, definitely. So as far as key levels to watch moving forward, the initial level of support that I would, definitely call a muscle level down there to $1.45, because if the price drops below down below $1.45, at that point, that would put the price right back to where it started. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that are going to start to reverse around, the price is not going to go back to where it started. That just doesn't make any sense. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, main battleground definitely to watch moving forward. Going to be right up there at the $1.58 mark, so keep an eye on that. So overall, still a very interesting setup. But as always, maybe this was just a little temporary pause before it continues down. So that's why risk management matters, but worth at least keeping it on the watch list. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. And what a wild, wild ride on this one. Started off the day not looking good at all. But I mean, check out that bounce right there. And then, of course, to add on to the wildness, after that bounce, pretty much gave everything back, but has now, been able to bounce up here a little bit. But overall, when all the dust is settled, nothing has changed from, the video I did previously in terms of the overarching levels. And that is still have this main area of resistance up here at 1105, main area of support down there at 1,000, which was temporarily broken, but that didn't last very long before, that big bounce occurred. So yes, I get it, today was a very wild ride, up and down and now back up. However, taking a step back and looking at things from the grand scheme of it all, nothing really happened today, meaning the price is still just in between this little channel right here. So overall, nothing has changed from a bigger picture point of view, but from a day trading standpoint, yeah, there's absolutely quite a bit of opportunities, but big picture wise, it's still just going through this consolidation. Good to see the recovery on that opening 30 minutes, which was pretty rough, but point here being, moving forward, it's still all about 1105 as resistance and then the 1,000 mark as support. Next one here, F for Ford, and this one has really started to act human again a little bit. Going to go ahead and get rid of these lines as they've served their purpose for now. But as I've mentioned in past videos, is this a bad chart? Is this a good chart? Well, I don't know. What was your perspective going in? What was your game plan going in? Meaning, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there, maybe you bought right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, well, then yeah, from that angle, the chart looks terrible. However, if you care about things from the big picture point of view, who knows? Maybe you're loving this action because you're thinking, finally, it's pulling back. Finally, I can try to get some sort of entry point, because within the grand scheme of things, you can see right here, the trend is still plenty in the upwards direction. So yeah, when you zoom in, that looks pretty terrible, but that's why I say it really just does depend on what was your perspective going in. So if you are somebody that's saying, yeah, I like to try to play pullbacks, I like to, buy the dip, whatever you want to call. As far as support levels are concerned moving forward, very interesting level right there at the $19 mark. And if $19 can't quite hold up, then the next key level of support after that would be down there around $18.70. So yeah, today was an ugly day. There's no doubt about that because there was a big pullback. But think about that word today, as in one day. Looking at multiple days, as we already did, you can see that the trend is still plenty forward. So if you like to play pullbacks and still believe in the overall trend, well, this could be an opportunity for you. Next one, LCID. Been tracking this one very closely, and updates definitely need to be done. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that line there. It served its purpose for now. And we have another near-term level of resistance moving forward. And this resistance is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, you want to see them act as a resistance, and they tend to act as resistance. So going into the day, right up around 42.25 was that level of support. but then the price ultimately did break down through it right there. And I mean, classic example, check it out. The next 30 minutes, the price did bounce, and look right where it got rejected from, right at that area of resistance before going back down. So I'm not saying that this level can never, ever be broken. All I'm saying is that, you know, if there is going to be any sort of attempted turnaround, 42.25 is going to be an important level that needs to be fought and through. As far as areas of support are concerned, key level to watch here is just right where that momentum and bleeding finally stopped at 39.25, and if 39.25 can't hold up, then you'd like to think that there'd be another one not that far away right down there at 38.50. But moving forward, in fact, maybe the easiest way to just go about that is call this a little support zone right here. So you got yourselves a support zone from 39.25 down to 38.50. And again, if it tries to bounce, you have that area right up there around 42.25 as resistance. Next one, RNXT, and this one is looking pretty rough, but I like to play these every now and then. You know, maybe some of you heard me say in past videos, you know, there can be opportunity within the ugly, and this one is looking pretty ugly, no doubt about it. I mean, it started off the day looking great, big move up, but since then has really just developed quite the nasty downtrending trend line. But maybe, just maybe, this is simply a pullback, and this thing, you know, and all this, to give credit, I mean, it's all occurring on very low volume. So you have yourself a low volume pullback, and maybe, just maybe, this thing is going to get ready to turn back up and maybe make another move to the upside. Maybe not. Maybe this thing just continues to bleed and bleed and bleed. And if that's the case, well, that's why, in my opinion, using that trend line as some sort of form of confirmation of strength would be wise, because you don't want to just randomly buy. But if the price can come up here and break through it, that still doesn't guarantee that's going to be a winning trade. But at least it gives a little more validity to the fact of, okay, yeah, it's looking like there's some actual strength here that has shown up. So if you like to play, you know, kind of situations where you think everybody else has given up because the thing is ugly, which this one is, well, sometimes those ugly pullbacks, and all of a sudden you look at them like, wait, I thought that was game over. Now look at the thing. And it could be one of those setups moving forward. So keep an eye on that trend line. And but just keep in mind, it could be the start of something bigger. So if you're going to partake in situations like this, you got to have those risk management protocols in place. Next one here, NIO, and, you know, no need to beat around the bush. Not a good day at all. Started off solid, got a nice move to the upside, and then completely just rolled back over. So a lot of updates here need to be made. First key level to keep an eye on from the resistance side of things is, once again, just based on that overall general rule that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And in this case, it's going to be about that pink line there, that 200 period moving average, which is valid at, let's just call it the $41 mark. So if the price does try to bounce in any sort of significant way, the big question mark is going to be, you know, well, first off, can the price even get back up to $41? But then, much more importantly, can the price actually break above and stay above 41? So you're going to want to keep a close eye on that. As far as levels of support are concerned, let's squeeze things down. A couple of key levels stand out. First level is just that area that, you know, nothing complicated. The bleeding finally did stop today at 38.85. So that'll be the initial level for that reason alone. And then after that, next potential area, which would be pretty crazy, is down there around 38.15. So I'm not saying the price is headed down to 38.15, but if this 38.85 mark cannot hold, then again, it becomes very plausible, because you look, there just simply aren't any other data points that suggest the price could find some buyers until down around that, you know, secondary green line at the 38.15 mark. But overall, yeah, rough day. A lot of downwards momentum is showing up today, but we'll see if going forward over the next couple of days that downwards momentum can continue or not. Next one, ATIP, and really like this setup here. Good old-fashioned, technical pattern. And I should note that, I'm not trying to come across like this pattern is some sort of great discovery on my part, or that I have some sort of special talent to see it. The exact opposite. I assure you, people that use charts, understand charts, are watching the same pattern and wondering the same thing. And I say that because when you have a lot of eyeballs watching and wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. So the first part of this pattern is the fact that, right up here around $4.15 has proven to be a relatively stubborn area of resistance. But at the same time, and to give credit where credit's due, it's become very apparent that this little trend line right here has formed a nice solid area of support. So let me change that to green to represent more of the bullish attribute. And then maybe to make this all easier to see, let's make it one color. So again, we have the main area of resistance right there. We have the main area of support right there. We have the big momentum movement right there. And then for you visual people out there, put the little golf hole down there, we have ourselves a bull pennant pattern. So bull pennant pattern is the best way to look at this. And while, as I've said a million times, but just to reiterate, nothing is guaranteed. But is it plausible to think that maybe this thing wants to consolidate out a little bit more and then make a move to the upside? Absolutely. Especially when you look at right now, look at this, a nice low volume consolidation compared to the upwards momentum movement. So it's more than valid to be thinking that, this could just be a healthy consolidation and this thing could get continuation to the upside. So if you are somebody that likes to play those bull pennant patterns, and if you like this price range, then I'd say this one belongs on your watch list. And that wraps up the top 10 video, or the top 10 stocks here in the video. But I want to also remind you and invite you to get signed up for the class. So if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool of technical analysis, how it can be used, how it should be used, how it should not be used, but ultimately how it's a great tool to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up. Like I said, the class will be on Thursday, November 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So get signed up for it. And as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these videos, then please help me out. Give me some feedback and communicate that to me by doing two easy things. Hit that like button, leave a basic comment, say hi. Give me a smiley face emoji. Tell me a ticker symbol that you're watching or traded today. But those two things go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy these videos. And as long as I know people are enjoying them, then I will continue to make them. And again, if you want to learn more about charts and how to build consistency using them, definitely get signed up for that class. Everybody take care. Have a good one.